Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what kind of video this is going to be today because you know what? So, a week ago, my sister got into a bad motorcycle accident and they are still in the hospital. They were airlifted. And I have heard very little. They're in Duluth, Minnesota. It's a 3-hour drive from here. I'm hoping my car makes it because I have made the decision that I am going to go there tomorrow. Our relationship is strained, but she's my sister. And it took me a week to figure out. But as usual, I have something going on in my life, so therefore Mike has got to create fucking problems. And of course, because I don't stop talking to him, and I don't know. I'm just so sick of him. Because it's the same fucking cycle over and over again. Because now, of course, I am a big goddamn asshole because I didn't react to this situation the way he thought I should. And of course, he's got his, and these are the words that I used, his words of wisdom, because it's always with him. You know, in his mind, I'm going to make a phone call up there and I'm going to find stuff out and everything's going to be happily ever after because I made a phone call. And no, it's not. I am not. Right now, she's on a ventilator in ICU. Are you fucking kidding me? Make a phone call? To me, that just... And he acts like that's just the solution. And then, you know, once you do that, everything will be fine. And that's just not how it's going to be. Everything isn't going to be fine. And I don't think he fucking gets that. And I'm going whether my car makes it or not. And at first, because of our relationship, I didn't know what to do. Which is what I tried to convey to him, that I was really torn about what the hell should I take the risk. And then, you know, he's got this way of making me feel like, and I made a couple of comments like, you know, if I do get stuck, are you gonna come up and help me? No, he's not. He ain't gonna do shit. He never has. When I have needed him, he's absent because I have somehow reacted differently to some situation that he thought that I should be reacting. I don't even know. You know what my opinion is he doesn't deal with anything. Ever. I have never seen him deal with a crisis. His brother deals with his crises. But Mike doesn't actually ever deal with any of them. He waits for somebody else to work it out, or he just doesn't. And his life moves on. Which is why he has nobody in it. I hate this. I've been watching too many creepy videos. And God damn it, now twice now I heard some rustling in the woods, and of course right away I think it's some fucking... And you know what reality is it's probably a deer or a bird or nothing. Anyway, Mike's a lot of talk and little action. Honestly, I could venture to say there's no action. And it takes me all the way back. You know, when we first started dating, he came down on me because I was having a really difficult time carting my shit back and forth all the time. You know, I'm working and I'm having to pack my stuff, and I get that it's only across the street, but dude, I wanted to spend some time at my house. I may have already told this story. I can't even remember anymore. But my God, I'm telling you, the fight that we had over that, and you know what? Nothing changed. He told me things would be different, and absolutely nothing changed. So guess what? Again, I don't even know. It was like 2 weeks later. We're having the same goddamn fight over the same thing. And I thought then I needed to get out. I needed to get out because you know what? That's never going to change. He is never going to validate that I need things. And these things are so goddamn trivial. And they're so trivial that, you know what I do? I start to wonder if I should even need them. But, you know what I realize is that I get into this shit and slowly I give up everything. I gave up sex. I gave up the freedom to be at my house. I gave up the freedom to go out anywhere because he can't even handle going and having a dinner somewhere. And I thought, you know, I can do this. You know, what's the big deal if we don't go out to eat? But you know what? There's literally no human contact in his world. He is never around anybody other than his brother and me. And without me in the picture, it's just his brother. And that's fine. You know what? I am not saying, and I never did say that he was a terrible person for that. But what I did say is we're two different people, and I have to have some kind of social life that includes other people. And I struggle with that. I struggle with it now because I don't have friends. I have managed to pick narcissistic people that care less about me. And every relationship that I've had with anybody, man or woman, it's always... the whole relationship ends up being me doing for them. And Mike's no different. You know, that whole relationship, he just let me take care of everything. And what did he do? Nothing. Nothing. He did nothing to stay in that relationship. But tell me how horrible I was, because in his mind, I'm the problem because, my daughter is got problems going on all of the time, and that affects me. I'm sorry. Again, he's got a daughter. I don't even know what her name is, because that's what a presence that she has in his life. And I really don't know why. I have no clue why. Because he don't talk about it. And he makes me always feel like I'm the reason why he don't tell me anything. And that's not it. I have done nothing but be there for him, and he's chosen to be a statue. And then when I tell him that, you know what, he's like being in a relationship with a fucking statue. There's no and then somehow, I don't know. Because walking through these woods right now, I can tell you that when I'm away from him, I don't, if I spend an amount of time away from him, I feel like my life goes back to normal. I don't have issues questioning my judgment. I feel like the only reason why I even question my judgment with going up to by my sister is because of him. Well, my sister don't like him. But there's so many times where I feel like he's all I've got, because I struggle so bad with friendships. And at this point, God, I'm going to be 50 years old. And I don't have people right now to go up to my sisters. I've got these 2 dogs that have to be taken care of. And my son tomorrow has got a car appointment that he needs his car at. And he is so busy with his work right now that there's no rescheduling this. So, and I don't even know honestly what's going on with the car, but he don't want to drive it anywhere because of it. And whatever. So, what the dilemma is right now is that my son needs to be picked up tomorrow at the car repair place, which is right in town, and we live in town, but it's too far to walk. I mean, it'd literally take Mike 20 minutes to take Ryan to get his car and come back. And he won't do it right now, because I told him that I didn't want to listen to his words of wisdom, because let's face it, my sister is on a ventilator in the ICU because of a motorcycle accident in which she wasn't wearing a helmet. And I don't know that I really need to say anymore. It's serious. And my brother-in-law and my sister and my brother have the kind of relationship where they're not used to being away from each other. And my brother-in-law right now hasn't even woken up since the accident, as far as I'm being told. And every time they try to get him to come awake, he freaks out to the point where they feel like they have to knock him back out. And them two, they've never been in the hospital, and now they're separated from each other, and there's nobody left of our, it doesn't even matter. You know, I am the only other person other than my sister's kids, and I don't know, you know, like I said, I'm not up there. It's 3 hours away. That's not where they live. They only live an hour away, but that's where they got taken to. And I have to drive up there and back in the same day because I've got work. And I don't know. You know, it's one of those situations where you don't know what to do. And I don't have I don't have money right now to stay and not go to work and do all of those things. So I have time tomorrow to be able to drive up. And I'm not sure I can trust my car, but I'm taking that chance because I'm going to. It's just what I'm going to do. And I feel like I wouldn't even be questioning my judgment right now if it wasn't for fucking Mike. But I asked him if he would just go over and take my son to go get his car tomorrow so that I can go up and see my sister. And all I got was an earful back about how horrible I was because of a couple of text messages in which, you know, he picks something to get all bent out of shape about, and then that's all it is. We're focused on that, and it becomes me trying to defend myself because the way he freaking came off, it made me feel way guilty, like I was shunning her. And no, I haven't done a lot to reach out. But my sister has created the situation the way it is right now. I have had silence since before I had surgery last fall. And as far as I know, and I wouldn't know except for I got told this, is that they are planning my niece's wedding. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm being deliberately left out of it. And she don't like Mike. I'm not even with Mike. But she don't like Mike enough that the feedback that I have gotten was that Mike's the problem. And again, I did not choose Mike over my sister. I did a whole video on me cheating in which I made myself look like I was a cheating bitch. But the reality is that over that 2-year relationship, every 2 weeks, we were fighting about me having a reaction to something that he didn't like my reaction, because in his mind, basically I should never have any reaction to anything. You know, at the time that we were together, my dad was dying. My dad is all I have had. My dad has always been my everything. I dreaded the lead up to my dad's death. All the way up until that point. I remember years of just dreading knowing that he was getting older. And you know what? That's what I was dealing with during that relationship. And do you know how many times I got left alone because he didn't like how I was reacting to something because I was being too, quote unquote, dramatic. I don't know. And I have gone over this and gone back over it to, you know what? And you know what? I end up spending time by myself because I should not be drinking. But that's the social activity up here. Everything fucking revolves around drinking. And you start to feel like the only person in Gotham. And you get lonely, and then you start thinking, well, maybe it was all me. Maybe I'm the problem. And then I think I need to be different, but you know what? Everything I have ever read about anything, people react to shit. People say things when they're emotional that they don't mean. They do things that they don't mean because let's face it, it's only been 2 years and I haven't even really had time. I've had time to grieve. I don't know what grieving is. All I know is there's still, I start thinking about it and I'm crying. But, you know, I can't do that in front of him. Crying in front of him, that was the problem. Right there. I wanted out of that, really. He just texted me about how he wanted out. He didn't want out. And that's a crock of shit. He would have left everything like it was. Where I'm literally getting nothing out of this relationship. But made to feel like there's something wrong with me. And every time I tried to say, hey, you know what? I think we're two different people. And you know what? Right now, I don't think he's a bad fucking person because I really don't think that he even gets. He spends so much time by himself that he doesn't even get the way he is. What he knows is that he doesn't get along well with people. And I don't even know. Honestly, he's so lost and fucking... I don't even think he even gets that. What he does is he avoids. He avoids everybody and everything. How he stays sober is beyond my fucking comprehension because any kind of sobriety, I don't care what sobriety program you're talking about, isolation is not the answer. Certainly not. Don't help me. Isolation leads me back to him. And that wouldn't even be happening if he wasn't across the street. I'd so be done with this. And I get this to the point where I have thought how hard. Dude, I've been in that house for 30 years and it's just, had I known he was the stone cold ass that he is, because I don't think, I can remember the first time that he told me that he loved me, and it didn't feel, that's not what it felt like. It felt like he was telling me that he loved me so that he had something to hold over my head, which is exactly what he did with it. He just used it against me. Oh, as though I'm not lovable by anybody else. And you know how many times he's repeated to me that he's a good boyfriend? Dude, I don't know. And when he started doing that to me, I can remember thinking to myself, if you were a good boyfriend, you wouldn't need to point it out. Right? You know what? What is a good boyfriend to you? He doesn't hit. He doesn't hit. And he doesn't call me really nasty names. But I'd be lying if I said that he hasn't name called, because telling me I'm crazy, what is that? Telling me things are all in my head. You know how many times I've heard that? It's all in my head. What I need to do is do the same thing with him as I've done. You know what? The phone number needs to come out of my phone and blocked from my account. Not just from... I don't even want it to be where I can unlock it. I need to have to dig. Granted, he is across the street, but I've got to. Because this is dumb. Because every goddamn time I think he went down to the hospital when my dad was dying, I think once. And it was because my sister and brother-in-law were going. And again, even at the time, I thought in my head, you know what? You're only going along right now because you know how it will look if you don't. And then in the text that he shot back at me today, he told me that I was trying to make him go up there with me, and no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't, because I know better. He ain't going to Duluth. He ain't going to the other side of town. I know better. And I know better than to even 3 hours in the fucking car while I'm this emotional. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. Anyway. So, yeah, he's a good boyfriend. If a good boyfriend is somebody that doesn't hit and doesn't actually call you really nasty names. Just mild name calling. And then I can do this video and I can hear myself say all this. Like, we never once went out to eat. There was never anything that we did that was ever special. if we made plans to do anything, I had to do all the work because he ain't doing anything. And then there's no sex. And that's because he has no sex drive. And that was how the conversation would go. Well, I don't have a sex drive. Like, somehow that just makes it okay. I do. And I can't shut mine off any more than he can turn his on. So where does that leave you? Because he don't think that he should have to do anything when it comes to the bedroom. A lot of the time, not even sleep together. There's no cuddling. You know, he'd rub my back, and if, dude, I wish I had a dummy. I'd show you what the rubbing of the back was. Because the way he would do it, it was like he would figure ways so that he wouldn't have to actually do a lot of talk. I don't even know how to explain it. And honestly, I could have, if there would have been a cuddling and touching involved, I think it would have been a whole different situation. But reality is no, there's none of that. There's no nothing. And I didn't find any of this out until, because he withheld sex. We're gonna wait. Yeah, we're gonna wait until he thinks that enough time has passed that my feelings are too involved. And which is what happened. You know, a bunch of time passes, and then, you know, your feelings get involved. And at first, and then there's the element of self-esteem and, well, and the fact that he's telling me what a great boyfriend he is. You doubt yourself. You think about all the self-doubt. And like what I don't understand about me is I can go to work and like people respect me. They respect my boundaries because I uphold them. And I feel like I get into a relationship and suddenly, like him, you know, when I'm walking through this woods, and now I'm a half hour into this, and I can hear myself saying all of this stuff that was red flag, red flag, red flag. No, I wanted, and I tried. I had tried to break it off with him, and then we'd talk, and then he'd promise to do something about his sexual problem. And no, he wouldn't. He didn't do anything. You know, towards the end there, he got a bottle of pills, but then you know what he'd pull on me? He'd take like a whole bunch of them, and then I'd be so fucking worried that he's gonna have a heart attack or something that... Why would you do that other than to try to manipulate the other person? And then he would act like, well, no, that's not why I wanted him to work. No. I think you intentionally created an element of fear. For me. It's just no matter what. You get caught up in these things, and people just want to go, hey, cheating's so bad. Yeah, let's take the whole relationship into account, and how much lying and it's not manipulation where like people think manipulation is these grand, but a lot of times manipulation is so subtle. When people are manipulating you, especially when you're close to them, they can do all these subtle things and it creates all this doubt in your mind. Like, maybe I am. Maybe I'm not remembering things right. And and there's never a situation where you could really put your finger on anything. You just think to yourself, that was strange. But what are you going to do? You start pointing fingers, and what all you get out of him is deny, 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 deny. I'm crazy. It's all in my head, I'm making it up. I'm not remembering it right. Holy fuck. And now I'll be honest, towards the end, when I first, I don't know. It just you get pushed till you're so exhausted. You're so exhausted, and then you do shit that you'd never do. But I was exhausted. Trying to hold a goddamn relationship together when we're fighting about shit that a lot of the times, was it happening? And I'm taking blame for stuff. I know I took a lot of blame for things that didn't happen. Because I wanted the fight to end. You just get to the fucking point. You just want it to fucking stop. Just stop. And now, what is it? I go on a half hour on this walk because he made everything about him. And it's my sister that I need to be worried about, not fucking him. And you know what? I wanted to come out here and do, one, because I'm going to be gone again tomorrow, and I've been working all week. Like, these dogs have really just been... And yeah, he came over and let the dog... But honestly, the dogs could stay in the house until I get done with work. That's to me, there's nobody there for him to deal with. He has to walk across the street and let the fucking dogs out. It's one of those favors that he can do where you're not really doing anything, but he can use it. And you know what? He wasn't feeling good. I went and did a bunch of fucking around for him. But you know what? I care about him. I don't think he cares about anybody. Really, not even himself. I never actually felt like he really gave a shit about me. Why? Why would I? When I think back to when my dad was dying, you know how many times I was alone? All right. So, the moral of this story is the purpose of this video was to vent this all out. And the only way I can do that without getting a bunch of feedback, and I don't want any feedback from anybody. There's a CO2 cartridge. God. Anyway, it's because I don't want a bunch of feedback. I will figure my shit out. You know what? I'm 49 years old. And all the decisions, and most of the decisions in my life that I've made, I think were the best decisions given the situation that I've got. And I've dealt with a lot of crap. A lot of major issues, stuff, things I've had to deal with. And you know what? I think that I've made good decisions. And I don't need, you know what? When I have a problem, I want to vent. I want to say, hey, you know what? I get that I need to cut my ties with Mike, or this isn't going to end. A month from now, a month and a half from now, 2 months from now, I will be out here having the same talk again. And I need to just, you know what, Gray Rock. Not let my feelings for him cloud my judgment as to who he really is. See, is there something moving around? I feel like there's something moving around in there. I think we should go. All right. I can't believe that there is because I'm talking and making noise and these dogs aren't reacting. But I am going to end this video. I am going to go up to my sister's tomorrow. My son is going to have his friend come and get him. Because reality is that I don't need Mike. And I'm fine by myself. And that's the truth. So, you know what? Do this. This is it. This was my venting time. Thanks for listening. And you know what? Honestly, I do this because I don't think that I am the only one that is in a crazy relationship like this, where I'm not the only one that has spent a lifetime being gaslit. And I think that when you're around gaslighting people, I feel like I don't recognize it. At least not very fast. And that bothers me because I don't want another Mike. You know what I'd love to meet somebody that just doesn't ask questions, doesn't ask questions just to use them against you. That wants to find stuff out about you so that they can understand why you are the way you are, instead of tell you that you're living in the past. He's living in the past. You know, I might talk about the past, but that's all it is. Like, I feel like it's a story. It's a story, buddy. And in order for me to deal with what's happened in my life and not be a hateful person, I have to understand. I have to understand what my mom went through. What made her who she was. You know, my sister right now. Why? Why are we so strained? And my dad, like, I think my parents did the best they could. I honestly think that my parents did the best they could. They had a lot of things going on. But no, saying that doesn't mean that their actions didn't affect me in a negative way. And those are the things that I want to deal with. Because I don't want all of that freaking trauma to keep causing me to do this kind of stuff. Like, here I am, once again, fighting with him when I know that when he does his fake apology, he needs me for something. And this last time, it's because his car was broke down. He needed me to drive around. And then we got into another little tiff. But that time it didn't last long. But it didn't last long because he got his allergies, which to me is it's more than allergies. But you know what? We won't. We'll just, we'll skate by that. And then he'll say, if I so much as go, it's because of all the weed I smoke. Dude, I have never smoked cigarettes in my life, ever. And I think I started smoking weed maybe it's less than 10 years ago. And really, there's times where I hit it. And there's other times where, yeah, I could take it or leave it for the most part. I mean, I like it, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. Because I know there's a whole some rainy thing about that too. But you know what? I'll be California sober. I don't care. Whatever keeps me away from the alcohol is what makes me happy. But anyway, moving on. I feel like my struggle can help other people's struggles. And if I can help anybody, it makes me feel more at peace with the bullshit in my life. How about that? So, anyways, this is Jen from Jen's House of Zen, reminding people to please be kind to each other. My God. And I am doing the best with what I have been given. Have a great day.